In a world filled with noise, distractions, and endless opinions, there is one secret that can transform your life. And it's simpler than you might think. Focus on yourself and stay silent. Today we dive deep into the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, who discovered that true strength comes from mastering your mind, not the world around you. So, what happens when you stop seeking validation and start turning inward? What happens when you let go of the need to explain yourself to others? Let's find out as we explore how focusing on yourself and embracing silence can lead to a life of peace, growth, and alignment. This is when you focus on yourself and stay silent. Everything falls into place, inspired by the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. Number 1. Silence is strength, not weakness, in a world that encourages constant talking, posting, and reacting. Choosing silence is seen as strange. But Marcus Aurelius understood the true power of silence. Silence is not weakness. It is control. When you stay silent, you stop wasting energy on unnecessary words. You start listening more to yourself, to the world, and to what really matters. Silence doesn't mean you're doing nothing. It means you're doing inner work. In today's fast-paced world, we often feel compelled to speak, to share, to be heard. Social media, conversations, and constant updates demand our attention and energy. But what if we learned the power of silence, the strength in choosing stillness over noise? Marcus Aurelius, a philosopher and Roman emperor, lived a life where silence wasn't just an absence of sound. It was a choice, a tool, a practice of strength. Silence allows us to stop the endless cycle of reactions. It helps us focus our energy on what truly matters, instead of scattering it in countless directions. When we stop speaking unnecessarily, we can listen. And in that silence, we can hear the most important things, our own thoughts, the whispers of our own hearts, and the lessons that the world has to offer us. Silence is not doing nothing. It's doing the inner work that creates strength, clarity, and purpose. Number 2. Self-focus builds discipline. When you stop watching others and start focusing on your own life, discipline naturally follows. You begin to create structure. You wake up with purpose, you eat with intention, you speak less and do more. Self-focus leads to accountability. You stop blaming others. You take control. And Marcus Aurelius reminds us, a man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. Self-focus doesn't mean shutting out the world or ignoring the people around you. It means paying attention to your own path, your own goals, and your own growth. When you are focused on your own life, you are less distracted by others. You stop comparing yourself to people on social media or trying to live up to external expectations. Instead, you focus on becoming the best version of yourself. This focus is where discipline is born. It's not about force or rigidity. It's about consistency and intention. When you focus on what truly matters to you, you develop the discipline to make choices that align with your values. You wake up each day with purpose. You structure your time, energy, and efforts toward achieving your goals. Every decision becomes an act of intention. You eat with purpose, you act with clarity, and you speak only when necessary, saving your energy for action. Self-focus means you are accountable to yourself. You stop blaming external circumstances for your failures, and instead, you take responsibility for your life. No more excuses, no more passing the blame. You realize that everything you do or don't do is a result of the choices you make. And in that realization, you find freedom. The freedom to create the life you want, not by reacting to the world, but by acting with purpose and discipline. When you focus on your ambitions, discipline becomes natural. The clarity that silence brings allows you to see your true purpose. As Marcus Aurelius said, a man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. When you begin to focus on your own growth and goals, you naturally build discipline. Your actions start to speak louder than your words. You begin to live a life of intention, where every day is a step toward becoming the person you want to be. Number 3. You conserve energy for what matters, arguing, explaining, defending. These drain your mental and emotional energy. We've all been there. That feeling of exhaustion after an argument or trying to convince someone of your point. But what if you could conserve that energy for something more meaningful? When you stay silent, you stop wasting energy on battles that don't contribute to your growth. Instead, you conserve your mental and emotional resources for your true goals, for the things that truly matter to you. You begin to realize that not every disagreement, every conversation, or every defense is worth your energy. Some things, some people simply aren't worth the fight. By choosing silence, you become more selective with your words, your presence, and your commitments. You stop engaging in conflicts that don't serve your purpose. Your energy becomes more focused, and as a result, your life becomes more intentional. You have more mental clarity to invest in what truly matters. Whether it's a personal goal, a relationship, or a project you care about, silence allows you to conserve energy and direct it toward your growth, your success, and your happiness. Number 4. Peace comes from within. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Inner peace is not found in controlling the world, but in controlling how you respond to it. The chaos of the world will always be there. Distractions, challenges, misunderstandings, conflicts, but your response to it is where your true power lies. When you focus on your inner world, your thoughts, your choices, your reactions, external, chaos loses its power over you. You stop being easily disturbed. You stop reacting to every trigger, every comment, every stressful situation. Instead, you begin to choose how you respond. You realize that peace is not something external that you have to fight for or chase after. It is something that comes from within, from the control you have over your mind, your thoughts, and your reactions. With this focus, life becomes more manageable. The world outside might be unpredictable, but your inner world can remain calm and steady. You learn to find peace even in the midst of chaos. When you control how you respond to the world, you reclaim your power. And that power is the key to lasting peace, clarity, and strength. Number 5. People begin to respect your silence. When you don't speak unnecessarily, when you stop explaining every move, people begin to notice. There's a quiet power in silence that doesn't need to announce itself. It speaks through presence, through action, through restraint. While others rush to fill silence with noise, your calm becomes a signal. It sets you apart. Your silence creates mystery. It builds presence. It invites curiosity. Some will misunderstand it and assume distance or disinterest. Others will respect it and see it as strength. But the most important part is, either way, you no longer need their approval. You're not performing. You're not seeking validation. You've learned to let your actions speak for you. When you move in silence, your results become your voice. You stop needing to prove anything to anyone. The work you put in, the life you live, the discipline you build, these become the evidence. The fewer explanations you give, the more powerful your presence becomes. Silence teaches you to stay grounded, to work privately, and to allow your growth to unfold without announcement. Number 6. Comparison fades away. Focusing on others leads to jealousy, insecurity, and anxiety. You scroll, you compare, and suddenly your life feels small. But it isn't your life that changed. It's your attention that wandered. The more you fix your gaze on others, the more you lose sight of your own progress. But when you focus on yourself, everything shifts. You stop comparing your reality to someone else's highlight reel. You stop competing for attention, approval, or success. And instead, you start creating. You begin to build a life that's meaningful to you, not measured by someone else's standards, but by your own inner compass. Marcus Aurelius never wrote about keeping up with others. He wrote about keeping up with your own potential, about rising above yesterday's self. That is real success. It's not flashy, it's not public, it's quiet, steady progress. When you stop comparing, you free yourself from a race you were never meant to run. And in that space, you find the clarity and peace to grow on your own terms. True strength is silent. True success is internal. And true peace comes when you no longer need to be anyone else. Just a better version of who you were yesterday. Number 7. You stop explaining yourself. The more you grow, the less you feel the need to explain. You realize that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your goals, or your struggles. Silence becomes your filter. It protects you from unnecessary judgment, distraction, and doubt. As you evolve, you begin to understand that constant explanation invites interference. When you stay silent, you keep your energy focused. You don't need to justify your direction or convince others to believe in it. You move quietly, with intention. You stop announcing every move, and that's exactly when those moves become more powerful. Silence becomes your strength, your shield, your strategy. It guards your ambition and shields your process. You don't owe anyone your roadmap. Your results will speak louder than any words ever could. In the quiet, your plans grow, your confidence builds, and your actions begin to align with your purpose. Number 8. Growth happens in private. All real transformation happens when no one is watching. It's not found in the spotlight or the applause. It's forged in the quiet moments of discipline and decision. The early mornings, the long nights, the lonely hours where you choose progress over comfort. These are the moments that shape you. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations to be published. He wrote them in private, for himself, never for recognition, only for reflection. He understood that solitude was not emptiness, it was presence. It was space to grow. In those private moments, without noise or opinion, you become something solid, something strong. Growth isn't loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It happens when no one is watching and nothing is guaranteed. It's in the small choices you make when nobody sees. It's in the way you continue when quitting would be easier. And when you choose to grow in private, your strength becomes quiet, but unshakable. Number 9. Detachment becomes easier. When you focus on yourself, you stop clinging to things you can't control. People, outcomes, opinions. You begin to see how much of your emotional energy has been spent on things that were never yours to manage. And slowly, you begin to release them. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It doesn't mean apathy. It means you've made peace with what's outside your influence. You detach, not because you don't care, but because you've learned to care more about your own peace. You realize that holding on to everything, every person, every expectation, every outcome, is too heavy. And letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You become emotionally lighter, more free, less reactive. You stop chasing closure from people who can't give it. You stop obsessing over how things should have been. Detachment gives you clarity, and that clarity gives you strength. You begin to understand that peace isn't found in control, it's found in surrender. Number 10. Everything begins to align. The truth is simple. When you focus on yourself, when you stay silent, and when you live with purpose, things begin to fall into place. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily, quietly, almost without you noticing at first. Life becomes less chaotic, not because the world suddenly changes, but because your response to it does. You become more grounded, more intentional. The noise fades, and what really matters comes into focus. The right people begin to enter your life, not because you searched for them, but because your energy shifted. You became a magnet for peace, for growth, for truth. And the wrong people? They begin to fade. Not because you pushed them away, but because they no longer resonate with the person you're becoming. Everything starts aligning, not by chance, but by choice. Your choice to focus inward, your choice to stay silent, your choice to grow, even when it's hard. Marcus Aurelius lived by this truth. He knew that peace and power don't come from trying to fix the world, they come from learning to master yourself. And when you do that, when you truly commit to self-mastery, everything else begins to align. So when you embrace silence and focus on yourself, you unlock a power far greater than any external achievement. Peace begins to reign, growth becomes inevitable, and everything, in time, begins to fall into place. Remember Marcus Aurelius's words, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Your journey is your own, and the most powerful thing you can do is walk it with intention, with focus, and with the quiet strength that comes from within. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. Thanks for watching. Keep focusing on yourself, stay silent, and trust the process. See you in the next video.